G'day everybody, welcome back for another big week of Between the Posts. We've changed location again, we're here at the Moseley. It's absolutely fantastic. Got a great coffee, it's going to be great fun. Oh, cheers Jackie. Anyway mate, how you been? It's going to be a big week.
Yeah, great weekend of footy across all of the Adelaide Footy League. We've got plenty of segments coming up today. We've got our usual segments. We've also got the Div 1 wrap, which we'll be going through. Beck's coming in for the women's report. And of course, we've got Filthy, Phil Hurden, covering Div 4. Can't wait for him to get stuck into Div 4. Yeah,
big shout out to Filthy. I'm not sure how happy he's going to be with us rolling with Filthy, but we're going to. Of course, we've also got marks and goals of the week as well. And what caught our eye, but it's going to be focused on the Women's League, of course. We've got one minor round game to go, and then, of course, we've got a massive final series coming up there. But make sure you stay tuned for all that right here on Between the Posts. G'day everybody, welcome here to the BTR Excavations Division 1 wrap on Between the Posts. It was a great round of footy, round 14 of the BTR Excavations Adelaide Footy League Division 1. We saw one team go into the 5, we saw another team fall out. We're going to start with the team that ended up inside the 5, Salisbury North. They played at home and they won their game against Ross Trevor 6-14-50 to 6-7-43. It was a great game of footy. It was of course the stream team game, so I got to see it firsthand. It was 2 goals to Richard really early in the contest, which got it started for them. And then after that as well, they were able to just hold that margin. Ross Trevor got back a couple of times within that 4 points, but unfortunately they never actually led the contest at any point during the day. Geordie O'Brien was really good. He ended up with the BOG there. And then the Bianco magic moment, Jacob Russo came running, tracked down Xavier Tramfer and wrapped him up. It was absolutely fantastic. And of course, best team man on the day was Tyrell Hocking, who was absolutely fantastic as well. Really played a great game of football. What were your thoughts there from the outside looking in, Jack?
From the outside looking in, I saw that Lanzoni was goalless for Ross Trevor. Obviously, he's top 5 or so in the competition for goals, so that's a massive scout for Jamie Jones. He had the assignment on him, and I've seen that he ended up in the best players for Salisbury North, so that's a big win there for the Hawks. As well, Butterworth was a big out for Rocks in the ruck. And they actually didn't go into that game with a recognised ruck coverage, so that potentially might have cost them. And big Jake Russo took full advantage. He ended up in the best players and did get some votes, which we'll touch on a bit later on. So a couple of key wins there for Salisbury North, which was part of which led them to victory. The Salisbury North players were wearing black armbands across all grades yesterday. Unfortunately, a great club man, former player, supporter, an all-round great bloke, Aaron Gerlach, was taken far too soon from us. He was battling an illness for a little bit, and last week he was taken from us, and it's a little bit close to home for me. So very upsetting through the week, but it was a great tribute for Salisbury North, and great respect shown by all the teams to show a bit of love to him and his family. So sending my love to Jazzy and little Kobe, his little son. So he's got a young family at home as well. Sending my love to all the Hawks family, and bit of a tough time for everyone involved.
Folks, we're about to get into the votes, but before we do, I do want to give a shout out to Tommy Javor. He was feeding us notes all day through the commentary. So Tommy, if you're out there listening to this, and I know you are, mate, make sure you build a league for a hard day's work there as well, mate. But the votes, 3 to O'Brien. He was absolutely sensational in the middle yesterday. 2 to Big Russo. He was really, really good as well, the son of a gun. And 1 to Finn Wakeland. I decided to put Wakeland in there because I thought he was a little bit more, kind of important to Ross Trevor than the others we had there. We were looking at Jamie Jones, who did a really good job, and of course Joey Brown as well for his superb work. But I thought Finn Wakeland, when the game was there for Ross Trevor, while they didn't win the game, I thought he was very, very vital to their organisation. Game number 2 saw Broadview taking on Golden Grove. It was 2-1-13, placed 14-10-94. Golden Grove got the job done by 81 points. It was an emphatic victory. Broadview they got a goal in the first term, 1 goal 6 to 3-18, but from then it was all Golden Grove as they were able to kick 11 goals to 1. Really damaging signs, I think, there for Broadview, because I guess in this season, they're kind of all about honourable losses because they haven't been able to win a game yet. Obviously, they're trying their best there, but I mean, this was not an honourable loss. This was a dismantling of the highest order.
Yeah, the class of Golden Grove just shone through, really, when the conditions were very tricky across all 5 games across the league yesterday. The conditions in Adelaide have been absolutely shocking. But yeah, the class just shone through for the Kookaburras, the likes of Glenn, Pittman, Shenton, Thatcher down back. They all just stood tall and really restricted Broadview in the way they were trying to play and played the conditions perfectly, really. And they move on, 7 wins in a row. It's all happy signs at the moment.
Look, you know what? I'm going to give some positivity to Broadview based off nothing but a little bit of hope. I think they'll beat somebody. I think someone's going to underestimate them and they'll beat someone. Who it is, I don't know.
And onto the votes. We have Josh Glenn, 3 votes, Pittman 2, Shenton with 1.
We're off to the swimming pool next because apparently, according to Jack Banwell, who watched a little bit of this game between the 2 college boys, I love this matchup. It was underwater at times, the Oval. 5-9-39 plays 1-7. 13, and I tell you what, both teams did pretty well to even kick goals, to be honest, if the conditions were that bad, but St. Peter's got the job done. 26-point winners in the end. Kind of talk us through what you saw from that little bit, and then obviously what the commentators left as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting game to say the least in the swimming pool. Just quickly on the scoreline there, 1-7-13. Broadview also had 13 points in their game against Golden Grove. Peter, who I was commentating with yesterday, threw out a good filming footy stat that 13 is the lowest score in Division 1 this year. So both teams got the lowest score, unfortunately for them. That was just a funny little quirk that I heard yesterday. But for the game yesterday, it was St. Peter's by 13, 14, 15. Bit of numerology, and then finished 26-point winners. Obviously, the weather played its part all across Adelaide yesterday. PAC had a crack, but Spocko's a little too classy and held them at bay. Again, like last week, they did what they needed to do and got the 2 points, albeit in an ugly affair, but they move on and over the last couple of weeks. They've won a couple of closer games and, yeah, they're still sitting pretty in second.
Indeed, they are. Goal kickers as well. Edward Allen ended up on the goal kickers list. He ended up on the goal kickers list in a game that I called 2 weeks ago at Spocko. So pretty interesting to see that he's able to kick some goals from half back. I don't know whether or not he's trying to make that a mainstay in his game, but knowing him, he certainly would be trying to, I think.
He must be sneaking forward.
Yeah, he is. He's just throwing the magnets around for Coach O'Leary down there at Spocko's. James Higgins ended up with the goal as well. Fergus Lamp Brooks really liked the way he goes about it. He ended up on the goal kickers list as well, as did McCarthy and Nick Michaels as well. Meanwhile, across the other side, Craig Pitt was the only goal kicker for Prince Alfred. I tell you what, it's a delicate position Prince Alfred find themselves in now because they're starting to get to the point where they need to win a game because Payneham are starting to look like they might do the same thing. Obviously, they've got to match each other. Whoever doesn't will end up going down.
Yep, we'll touch on it later, but there might be a little bit of a switcheroony happening down the bottom of the ladder, I think, in my opinion. The better players for both teams, it was Nelligan, Carruthers, Charlie Allen, Bedford, Ianello, and for PAC, Sumner, Pitt, Jolly, Kelly and Searles. And into the votes, thanks to Nathan Woods. He actually sent me through a funny photo, which you'll see in a second. Henry Nelligan with the 3 votes. And just have a look at Nathan there. He's got the gloves on. So the conditions were very treacherous at Spocko's yesterday. Malachi Carruthers with 2 and Charlie Allen rounds out the votes with 1.
Well, chaos, I think, is the way to describe this game. Port District 18-13, 121, plays 9-8, 62. Port District won by 59 points, but they didn't have it all their way. We had the man, the myth, the legend before he comes back onto the stream team next week. Looking forward to having you out there at Spocko's, mate. But talk us through this one as well.
I have almost no words. It was a crazy game. It was a tale of 2 halves at Country Living Homes Reserve. Just before we do touch on the game, there were some great things happening down at Port District yesterday. They had Sponsors Day and they had Mental Health Awareness Day for Beyond Blue. So Port District were sporting the blue armbands in support of Beyond Blue. They had a dunk tank at the end of the game. Scotty Lysett, a few of the other club officials got dunked in a pool of cold water. So the spectators came out in full force despite the terrible weather across Adelaide yesterday. And of course, the Port District staff also looked after us in the commentary booth. They brought up this massive plate of food and some drink. We were absolutely stoked. So thank you to Port District for your hospitality yesterday. It was very, very good. But onto the game. PNU by 16 and 22 at the first 2 breaks, and then Port District flicked the switch, 17 points at 3/4 time, and of course finishing at the game by 10 goals. But as you touched on, they didn't have it all their own way. PNU came to play. They also made it count on the scoreboard, which is something they haven't done the last couple of weeks. They've been playing really well, but haven't made it count. So they were in front. They had a lot of momentum as well. It was actually all Port District in the second quarter. They didn't put it on the scoreboard. 0 goals, 6, and PNU kicked a couple on the counter. Josh Ramsey moved the Magnets at halftime to try and find a spark. Joey Haynes went forward. Gaffney and Ferns went into the midfield. Tommy Carter went down back. And then in the third quarter, it was a genuine arm wrestle, goal for goal, until the 16-minute mark. PNU kicked a goal, and right from that next stoppage, it was like something flicked. There was a magic spell cast on Port District out on the ground. Lysette grabbed it out of the ruck, handball to Ferns, handball to Gray, kick inside 50. Tom Gray kicked the goal, who we'll touch on Tom Gray's return from an ACL. And they just didn't look back from there. It was amazing football to watch from the 16-minute mark. So only a quarter and a bit, they kicked, I think, 11 or 12 in a row from there. It was insane.
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, did you notice anything, I guess, kind of stark in the performances? I know you say they flicked a switch. Was it just that kind of mentality shift, I think? Or was there something else that you noticed in the game that they were in the way they were playing?
I think so. Maybe the shifting of the Magnets as well from Ramsey worked as well. Haynes kicked a couple of goals in the second half. Gaffney was sort of was able to influence the game a bit more forward of the footy instead of in the back half, which we're used to seeing. And Ferns, he's just a Mr. Fix-It almost for Ramsey, I think. He started the year playing forward, didn't he? Shifted back and he would have had 30-odd touches yesterday through the middle of the ground. Plenty of tough stuff as well from him. Lysette was dominating in the ruck, and maybe they just eventually wore them down because Lysette was winning a lot of taps and a lot of clearances. They weren't quite getting the reward that they wanted, and eventually the floodgates just opened up.
Yeah, you see it a little bit with, I think, teams that are in that, I guess, kind of disappointing vein of form like Panama, where you have that opportunity where they'll start a game really well and they'll look really good for moments and minutes, and then all of a sudden it kind of fades away towards the end of the game, which is, I think, is what happened based on everything you've just told us there and based on the scoreline. I think that's what happened with this one here. Do you have anything else to add before we do move to the votes?
Sammy McKay was brilliant, 5 goals, and he was one of the ones who ignited the comeback in the third quarter. He got on top of his opponent, took plenty of marks. In tricky conditions, it was very windy and things like that, he was able to kick truly. And Tom Gray, coming back from an ACL, it was his first A-grade game since midway through 2023. So he missed the premiership last year, and he got into the game nicely and finished with 4 goals. So a couple of shout-outs there for those guys who really got the game on their terms in the third quarter for Port. The votes, 3 votes to Jack Ferns, McKay 2 votes, and Scooter Lysette with 1.
This one was absolutely wild. Sacred Heart, Glenunga. Glenunga pull up a shock result against shock, dare I say it with the puns. But I tell you what, Glenunga have these moments where they look like the Rams of 2024. And they do it fleetingly. It's very annoying to watch as I guess a fan of each and every club, where you want everyone to perform really well. 4-4-28 plays 4-3-27. They get the job done in the end. Shock will feel like they probably should have won the game. They probably needed to win the game. Now they're in 6th, which is incredible considering the fact they started 6-0 Jack Banwell.
Yeah, definitely. It was a very up and down sort of game. Another oval flooded underwater was the Shock Middle School, so it was a joy to watch. Not really. It wasn't much of a spectacle yesterday. As you touched on, very low scoring. It was Shock 4 points, 11 points at halftime, and then Glenunga fought back in the third quarter, kicking 3 goals to 1, holding Shock scoreless. And then they held on by 1 point. Shock tried to rally very, very late through the kitchen sink at Glenunga, who were also scoreless in the last quarter. So they were just playing defense. It was just like 20, 21 goalkeepers out there just guarding the goals, but couldn't get their nose in front. And it was a huge result for Glenunga, who were without Decky Fay and Sam Parsons, who are, of course, some of their really, really good players. And I'm calling it early, but this win just about secures their place in Div 1. They're 2 wins and about 5% ahead of 9th place.
Question, I think, without notice then, considering that we don't know who's going to be in the division next year. We don't know who's coming in. We don't even know who's going to coach Glenunga next year. How they go in 2026?
Oh, bloody hell. There's enough there on that list to be competitive and maybe not challenge for a flag or even play finals, but enough to be competitive and cause some headaches for those better teams, I think. Okay. They'll be able to recruit smartly and things like that. So I think they'll be okay.
That was a question without notice and a doozy at that. But yeah, interesting win there. I guess on the other side now for Sacred Heart, I said it in last week's show and I get Darcy to play the clip, but I said they'd fall out of the 4 out of the 5. It looks okay at the minute, that prediction, but we still got 4 rounds of footy to go, so who knows? Yeah, for mine, there are just some question marks over Sacred Heart that just get bigger every time you see them, every time you see a result, I think. Another, I guess, sad passing of the week. Glenunga's chairman passed. You've got some notes there around it if you want to fill us in there, Benwell.
Yeah, they just did a minute silence before the game, did Glenunga and Sacred Heart, and Glenunga was sporting the black armbands. Yeah, he passed away suddenly last weekend, so thoughts and condolences go out to the wider Glenunga community. Obviously a very sad time in their footy club. We'll get on to the goals and the best players. It was Fox, McAuliffe, Noble and Simons with 1. Opperman with 2, as we touched on, 1 goal counter for 2 or 3. So Opperman getting a couple there was huge for Glenunga. Abel and Zach Smith ended up with 1 as well. The best players, Shock, Gluyas, Moore, Maroney, McRae and McAuliffe. The best, Glenunga, Abe Davis was enormous through the middle of the ground. Nick Egar, Lincoln Bennett, Eli Redmond and Ethan Smith. And then onto the votes, Geordie Opperman, I'm going to give him the 3 votes. Those 2 goals were absolutely crucial in securing Glenunga's place in Division 1 next year. Ethan Moore with 2, an absolute beast through the middle of the ground. Those conditions suit him perfectly. And Abe Davis finishes off with the 1 vote.
Yeah, a bit of a shake-up on the ladder. As we said, one team comes into the 5, one team goes out, one team probably saves themselves from being relegation threatened. You have a look there, Port District, St. Peter's, 11 wins, 3 losses, Golden Grove, 10-4. Then there's a break to Ross Trevor, 9-5. Did they shoot themselves in the foot yesterday? Potentially. Salisbury North, there at 9-5. And then the team that slipped out, Sacred Heart, 9-5 as well. Across the other side, Glenunga, right down the bottom of the ladder. They'll officially save themselves from relegation in the next couple of weeks. But they're 5-9, so they will be eliminated from finals contention as of next weekend. Prince Alfred, 3-11. Payneham Norwood Union, 3-11. Who's going to get it done out of those 2? Well, those 2 teams play each other, so it's going to be very interesting to see that one there.
Definitely.
And then Broadview as well, 0-14. Their season has not gone to plan, not one little bit, unfortunately, there.
No, it certainly hasn't. We'll have a look at the run home now. Exclusive segment here on Filming Footy. Can't wait to get stuck in.
I think it was your brainchild, just out of curiosity. I reckon you brought this one to the producer and it got the green light.
Look, I'm not going to brag, but maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? Darcy's not very happy there, sipping on his lemonade. We'll touch on Broadview to start off with for the run home, as we touched on. They don't have a win at the moment. Their run home is Salisbury North away, PNU at home, Glenunga away, Spockos away. Do they get a win?
Yes, I'm still going to back them in. I don't know who against. I'll throw Payneham Norwood Union under the bus and say it'll be against them. But yeah, look, I think Broadview will get a win against somebody. I think it just has to happen. It's one of those things where Glenunga had to lose last year. When you look at the other side of it, the total flip of the coin. I think Broadview have to beat someone.
All right, PNU, they currently have 3 wins, 40%, so they're 2% behind Prince Alfred in 8th. They play GG this week away, and then they have Broadview away, PAC at home, and Glenunga away. How many wins out of those remaining 4 do you think Payneham end up with?
Yeah, I like what you've done there. You've said 2. I'm going to lean towards 1. I think they beat PAC.
Does that then secure Division 1 footy for PNU next year? If we look at PAC, their run home, they play Shock at home this week, Port Districts away, PNU away, and Golden Grove at home. How many wins do you think PAC get on the run home?
0. So therefore Payneham will go above them. They'll finish on 8 and 6 points respectively, and therefore Payneham should stay up. That's my prediction.
I thought they were going to win the flag this year.
Next question, Your Honour.
Glenunga, they have 5 wins. As we said, we think they're going to play Division 1 footy next year, but funnier things have happened. Port Districts at home this week for Glenunga, Golden Grove away, and then they finish with Broadview at home and PNU away. So how many wins do you think Glenunga finish up with there, mate?
Yeah, I like what you've done there, saying 2. I agree.
Sacred Heart in 6. Now, this is where it gets really interesting with the remaining finals placings. Sacred Heart, they currently have 9 wins. There's a couple other teams on 9 wins as well. They have 52%, which is a little bit behind Salisbury North and Ross Trevor. PAC away this week for Sacred Heart. Rocks at home. St. Peter's at home, and then Salisbury North away. So that's a tricky run, isn't it, coming into finals time, potentially, for Sacred Heart?
It is. You've got them winning potentially 3-1. I'm going to go the other way. I think they get 1-3 and miss finals, Sacred Heart.
Okay, so who do you think they're going to beat, and then who do you think they're going to lose to there?
PAC, and then obviously they lose the others. So that's Rocks, Spock, and Salisbury North.
Interesting. All right, I've gone a win at PAC this week, a win at home. I think they'll need to respond. Ross Trevor did do the damage on them earlier in the season at Ross Trevor, but I think at home Sacred Heart will respond in a way that is pleasing for them. The Spockos game at home, that's a massive toss of the coin. And then I think Salisbury North away. Salisbury North have plenty to play for, and it's a very hard trip to go down to the nest down there. I think they might just fall just short. And that takes us into Salisbury North. Also on 9 wins, they have Broadview at home this week, St. Peter's away, Port District away, and Sacred Heart at home. Give us your tip there, mate.
Yeah, so I think they'll beat Broadview. I think they will lose to Spock. I think they'll lose to Port District, and I think they'll beat Shock.
Yep, I've gone sort of similar. I've just got the Port District game there as a not sure. I think that's a genuine toss of the coin, depending on maybe how Port District are going. Do they rest a few players? Salisbury North will have plenty to play for. And even though Port Districts haven't lost at home this year, they're 7-0. It could just be a little danger game for Port District. And yeah, with Salisbury North having lost to play for, they'll come out red hot, I think. Ross Trevor now, this is the one. We did touch on it a little bit last week. They probably have the toughest run heading into finals out of all 10 teams. So they play St. Peter's at home this week, Sacred Heart away, Golden Grove away, and Port District at home. I've got at least 1 win. I think they're going to beat St. Peter's this week. I think if it's one of the games that they're going to win, I think it's going to be this week at home. And then I've got a not sure on that very last game against Port District at home. Another one where Port District maybe might rest a few. Ross Trevor, it might be a do or die game for them. So they're going to come out red hot. And they have a lot of class all across the ground. And I think they might just be able to cause a little bit of an upset and maybe sneak into the 5. So yeah, it's a very genuine toss of the coin there, that round 18 clash.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've had a bit of a look at your list, and I can't believe you've gone with not sures. I'm sitting either win or loss. I don't do not sures.
Okay.
But I'll let you know now. I think they'll lose to St. Peter's this week. I think they'll beat Shock. I think they'll lose to Golden Grove, and I think they'll beat Port District, and that'll be enough to get them inside the top 5.
So you reckon, I've got 10 with a not sure. You reckon a genuine 11?
I reckon a genuine 11.
Genuine 11. Okay, that shakes things up a little bit. The Kookaburras now, they probably have the easiest run going into finals. Payneham away this week, Glenunga at home, Ross Trevor at home, and PAC away. I've gone 4 wins out of 4, so that means they will, if that does happen, they will be 11-0 heading into finals if the crystal ball that I have works. What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've just said that Golden Grove will beat Ross Trevor, so then I reckon they're going to be 4-0 as well. So Golden Grove could finish top of the ladder here. They're a genuine smoky to finish top.
They are. The Spockos now, Ross Trevor away, Salisbury North at home, Sacred Heart away, and Broadview at home. I've gone Ross Trevor, the game at Ross Trevor this week. I think they might just drop that one. Ross Trevor, I think, will be a little bit too good there at home. Salisbury North at home, I think they'll get the job done. That Shock game, as I just touched on, I think that's a genuine toss of the coin. And then they should finish their regular season off very strongly with a big win against Broadview, I think, to cement their spot in the top 3, which will get them a double chance. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, having a look at that ladder, having a look at yours there, I think they will beat Ross Trevor this weekend, and then I think they will. I think they'll get the job done there against Salisbury North. So that's a pretty easy win there for. Well, not an easy win, but it's a win for them.
Come on, mate.
It's a win for them. They'll beat Shock, and then they'll beat Broadview.
So 4-0 heading into the finals. All right, so that's 15 wins you've got there. That's interesting. And Port District, the top of the ladder, Port District, your reigning premier. They're threatening to go back-to-back. It hasn't happened for a very long time in Division 1, but they are looking the goods at the moment. Glenunga away, PAC at home, and then they finish with a couple of tricky ones to the promoted teams. Salisbury North at home and Ross Trevor away. I've got 2 genuine wins in the next 2 weeks, which leaves them with 13. And then I've got a couple of not sures just with the 2 promoted teams fighting for finals. Do they rest a few players? I'm not too sure. So they might just drop a few later on in the season. Who knows? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think they'll win the first 3 and then lose to Ross Trevor, and that'll be it for them.
Okay, so that's 16 wins for Port District. So if we're going off of our predictions, we will have Port District, St. Peter's, Golden Grove. Depending on percentage here, it looks like it's going to come down to percentage here, Lachie. We're going to have Ross Trevor, Salisbury North and Sacred Heart all on 11 wins. Glenunga with 7. And then a little flip down the bottom of the table. Payneham finishing with 5 and PAC with 3, which means PAC and Broadview will get relegated. So if we're going to have 3 teams stuck on 11 wins in that logjam, fighting for 5th spot, who do you think misses out?
I've said it 4 times already this episode. I'll say it again. Sacred Heart. Yourself?
I'm going to say Salisbury North, maybe.
Oh,
Sorry
they
to
will not
upset
be
TJ,
happy. They will not be
sorry.
happy up there at the Hawks' Nest. I got a couple of weird looks up there yesterday. They're going to be coming after you down there.
I've got a few mates down there, so they'll be pretty upset watching that, to be honest. Sorry, lads.
Yeah, no, anyway, that wraps that up. That was a wild success, I think, that segment. Interesting to see what's going to happen there. Are we both wrong? Are either one of us correct? Who knows? You're going to have to stay tuned to the Adelaide Footy League to find out.
Do you belong in a role that drives you? In a community that makes you proud? In a team that brings out your best? You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Well, it is of course time for the women's wrap, and it is round 14, the final round of the Adelaide Footy League BTR Excavations Division 1 competition, where third and fourth spot is absolutely up for grabs. Now, we know the weather was wet and wild on the weekend, and of course so was the footy, so let's check in with what happened across all the games that were played. And we'll start off with Hectorville versus Happy Valley. And Happy Valley, well, they got their second win in a row to finish the season to defeat Hectorville by 27 points. Happy Valley 6-4-40 defeated Hectorville 2-1-13. And the first quarter was pretty tight. It was only 7-6 at quarter time, with Happy Valley up by that 1 point. But then Happy Valley, well, they absolutely kicked away in that second term, scoring 4 goals, 1, and leaving Hectorville on their single goal. Now, Happy Valley, they were stopped a little bit in their tracks in the third, but Hectorville only were able to put on 1 goal, 1. So Happy Valley very much still in front and in control, and then finished off the last quarter strong with another goal. So Happy Valley finished really well for the season. We know they've been a little bit up and down, and they did it pretty well in style. 6 individual goal scorers: Chelsea Kennedy, Kirsty Moore, Jess Wade, Georgia Weatherspoon, and Lily Jinks, and Lauren Bungie as well, all kicking goals. Now, Lily Jinks was also best on for Happy Valley. Now for Hectorville, Taylor Roberts, she kicked both their goals, while Jess Williams was best on. Elle Lineage and Elkie Cameron also performed well for Hectorville. Now, unfortunately for Hectorville, with that loss, it does end their season. Now, although they're not making the 4, I think they've still had a really competitive season in Division 1. They've played some great footy over the course of the season, and I think they should be proud of how they've gone and competed at this Div 1 level. Now, I hope they can try and stick around at this high level of women's footy, because I think they can really compete, and they've got some great players coming through their system. For Happy Valley, as I said, they've really reignited their season in the last few weeks, getting those 2 wins in the last of the minor round. Now, after an absolutely fiery start to the season, they had a little bit of a drop-off mid-year, but they've got themselves into the Final 4. Or have they? They are in there for now, but we'll get to that later. Now, we'll move on to the match that has really lived up to the hype, because what an absolute contest between Morphettville Park and the Goodwood Saints. Now, going into this match, it was absolutely do or die for the Goodwood Saints, and well, they have fallen agonisingly short in the final round, with Morphettville taking the win by just 2 points. Morphettville at 6-7-43 defeated Goodwood 5-11-41. And you can see it right there straight away. The inaccuracy absolutely kills you. Goodwood, 16 scoring shots to the Roos with only 13, but it's Morphettville Park who managed to get the win. And you can see just how it went down if we look at those quarter by quarter scores. Well, Goodwood were a little bit slow to get started, did not score in the first term, while Morphettville Park kicked 1 goal, 3. Goodwood then decided to come to play in the second, kicking 3 goals, 4 to Morphettville Park's 1 goal, 1. Whilst in the lead at half-time, Goodwood again went scoreless in the third term, allowing Morphies to get out to a 15-point lead. Now, the fourth quarter saw plenty of opportunity for the Saints, but they kicked 2 goals, 7. Oh, absolute coach killer there. So despite the number of entries, opportunities at goal, well, Morphettville Park finished up with that win by 2 points. For the Roos, well, on their scoreboard, we saw Caitlin Swanson absolutely step up yet again, kicking 3 vital goals. As we can see, the goals were so important in that match. Megan Harper, Lindsay Bigg and Melinda Speechley also kicked goals. Julia Watson was best on for Morphettville Park. For the Saints, their goals came through Emma Chappell, Jess Shire, Maddie Griffiths, Tessa Cohn and Corey Webb. Corey Webb was also named best on for the Saints. In terms of the Saints, well, sadly it all comes to an end here. They've had a bit of an inconsistent year and it will end with them finishing just outside the 4. Unfortunately, those last 2 rounds were just a real killer for the Goodwood Saints. They had a 3-point loss to Broadview in round 13 and then this 2-point loss to Morphe's unfortunately really cost them. I've been saying for weeks just how close this division is and this ending for the Goodwood Saints showed just how close it was. I do think the Goodwood Saints have an awesome team out there. They've got some real talent on the park there in their Div 1 team. So I do think they do have some things to celebrate from the season, but I think they will be a little bit disappointed to miss the finals. For Morphettville Park, well, this is what they do best. They perform under pressure. They thrive in that finals-like atmosphere and environment. Their team is packed with experienced players, and I think that's what's really shone through in their second half of the season. Those players that have been there for years and years, many seasons of football experience across Adelaide Footy League and Samford as well. All of them have really come together to have a really strong team there for Morphettville Park. So they've got the job done and I think they're ready to go and make an absolute impact in finals. It is just a question now of how far they can go. Now, in our final fixture of the first half of this round, we saw first place Payneham take on Golden Grove. And well, it was of course our ladder leaders Payneham taking it out to finish the season on 13 wins and a draw. So they did not drop a game in the end. Final score, Payneham 11-10-76 to Golden Grove 3 goals straight 18. And well, it's just Payneham doing what they had to do really, getting the win, finish off their season strongly and getting themselves prepped for finals. They will of course finish top of the ladder. They've just had such a great year and they kicked off this game really well with a 4-goal first term and they never really looked back, as is very much the Payneham way. For Golden Grove, well, they definitely had their moments after quarter time. They were held scoreless in the first, but then they managed to kick a goal in each of the last 3 terms. So we can see that Golden Grove did have their moments in this match and did have their opportunities in front of goals. Now, the goals for Golden Grove in the end came through Casey Irwin, Kate Lovell and Shakaya Wiley. Their best on was Ruby Dunn. Now, on the Payneham side of things, there was an absolute superstar performance that I have to talk about, and that was from Shani Mitchell. She led the way with 4 amazing goals and also best on ground. So just off to a flyer in this game, and she's hitting some red hot form coming into finals. So I think that will be really exciting for Macca and the team. Now the goal scorers also featured Kristen Gadecki, Abby Clavey and Chloe Samuel. They all kicked 2 goals each, no worries at all, and a single goal to Georgia Mee. Now, Payneham, they are clearly the team to beat and they have been pretty much all year. They've got strong players in every line, their forwards, defence, mids, and they've got strong leaders in each of those lines as well who can really bring their team together and, as I said, just strength all over the ground. And we know they are absolutely capable of winning a flag in Division 1 because they, of course, did it last year. So it's all on them now to just perform in the finals, and I actually cannot wait for the Div 1 finals. They're going to be so exciting. Now, for Golden Grove, their season does end here, and unfortunately it has been a little bit of a rough one for Golden Grove, just struggling to get that win in this season. Now, I know they've got some great players in there at Golden Grove, and I hope that they're ready for a big 2026 and can come back and get some wins on the board. Now, that's actually all the matches this week in Division 1 for the women, because we have got a split round leading into finals. So we've got 1 game to come, which we'll get to. Now, as it sits currently, we've got Payneham in first, Henley in second. They are absolutely locked and loaded. And Morphettville Park in third. They're holding on to that spot there. And now currently, Happy Valley are in fourth. But Our final match is to come next weekend, and that's between Henley and Broadview, and this could still absolutely shake things up in Division 1. An upset from Broadview here could see them sneak into 4th position, but we know the Henley Sharks are firing at the moment, so will they let that happen? Who knows? The Broadview train is rolling in pretty strong at the moment, but we are going to preview that final round match later on in the show, and we've also got some special guests who are going to come in to talk that through with us. But for now, that is all that went on in the first half of round 14 of the Division 1 women's competition, but stay tuned for an exciting round 14 final match preview and some finals chat. Now, I've talked about all the round 14 action we've had so far in the Division 1 women's competition, but we have, of course, got one important game left next weekend in the Div 1 competition, as we have a bit of a split round for round 14. So I've got some special guests in with me to preview the final round, talk about their season, and talk about how they think they're going to go in the finals. So from Shark Park, of course, we've got Annalise and Tegan Dunbar. Welcome.
Thank you.
So thanks for coming down. Now, you guys had a bit of a bye this weekend, and you missed out on playing on all that rain and windy weather yesterday. I'm sure you're devastated.
No, not really.
No, definitely a good round to be missing.
Yeah, have you seen some of the photos that are going around on social media of people playing yesterday covered in mud?
Yeah, I saw some of the A-grade men who played there yesterday, and it was a bit of a mud pit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you guys are coming in fresh next weekend. Now you've got your final round match against Broadview. How are you feeling about that one?
I think we're feeling pretty confident this round. We beat them by quite a bit last time we played them.
Yep, I think that as a group we're training really well and starting to play some really consistent footy, so it's exciting to see that all coming together right before finals are starting.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been keeping an eye on what's been going on, but Broadview, they've had like a little bit of a hot run home. They're really pushing for that, final spot in the top 4, because if they win, they can actually make finals. So do you think they're going to be coming at you like real hard and real strong?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think that because they're so hard and because we beat them by a bit last time, they're going to come out firing, and I think we need to still play our hardest game and play as best as we can, because we don't know what to expect, because obviously they've been playing so well lately. So yeah.
Now I've got to talk about the draw against Payneham a couple of weeks ago. How was that? Was it really intense? Like, was it a fight? Like, what happened?
I feel like with Payneham, it's always a fight against us. It's always a really tough game. It did sting a little bit, the draw, but I mean, it's not a loss, so we'll take that at least. No, always a fight. We had a little bit of a slow start in the first half, so being able to sort of push back against their super, super strong side was really good to see as a group, how we can sort of fight back and match them. We were up for the last couple of minutes of the game, and then sneaky point brought it to a draw. But I mean, I think how we were playing, we can't really complain with how we finished off the game.
Yeah, and do you think it's good to sort of play them that couple of weeks out before finals, because no matter what happens next weekend, you're going to play them in round 1 of finals. So do you think you've got a good grasp on what you need to do to beat them?
I think we have I think Payneham also know, it's a very strong competition between us, and I think they're going to go out even harder now that we drew against them, because they know that we were so close to winning. So I think they're going to come out harder. We're going to come out harder as well. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting match. Yeah,
and is there any players you're kind of looking at in that Payneham side, like we need to shut them down? I'm seeing a bit of a look going on here. Who is it?
We'll maybe keep that under wraps. Can't give away too many trade secrets.
You got something going on there.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few strong players from Payneham who are aware, so yeah.
Well, and on the flip side of that, is there anyone, especially for you, Tegan, you're a big target up forward, is there anyone that comes straight to you from Payneham, that they're looking out for you, putting a strong match up on you?
I know a few. They rotate kind of just to tag or just to have constant pressure, which is good, and it did work for a bit of the game against Payneham when we played them last time. But yeah, there are a few players that were quite strong and are able to shut it all down.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, as we said, we're getting towards the end of the season. Has been any real highlights for you guys across the season? Maybe games you've played really well in, or just really good moments for the team.
I mean, I won't talk about my own, but I mean, Tegan did kick 9 goals in one game. That's I don't think you can go away from that as a highlight. But no, I mean, I think as a team, I think a highlight for me was our game against Morphees, that night game, how we just sort of came together. We started to put in some of our plays that we've been practicing at training, and as a team, I think that was a really good highlight to finish the game.
Yeah, I'd agree with the Morphees. The last bit of the Morphees game, we really worked on slow play. We were up by only a bit, so that slow play at the end really was something we'd be working on at training. So yeah, I think it came through really nicely and kept us in the lead.
Now, are you guys starting to feel some excitement around the team coming into finals? Are you stepping up things a bit at training? Sort of what's happening there?
You go first.
I think we're feeling really excited about the team that we've kind of put together. I think it's a super strong side. Lots of girls that have sort of are new to the club that have come in and have just fit in so perfectly with the team. And I think, training now, we're really pushing ourselves to be the best, and we want to be serious contenders, hopefully not go out in straight sets like last year.
Look, I wasn't going to bring that up, but you've brought it up. So, have you got some, plans to sort of, step up to that finals level football?
I think a lot of the thing we're doing this season is we've got so many new players out. It's half of the team's completely different, which is great to have new players. We've had a lot of girls come back as well, which has been amazing because, and the set plays, we're working on a lot of set plays, drills, and I think we really connect and bond as a team, so that really helps our game of football when we're on the field.
Now we've got to talk about, you're obviously siblings. How does this play out on the field? Do we have any tensions there? Do we have any special connections even between you two being sisters?
I mean, I think in previous seasons it's been a little bit different because Tegan's kind of played more of a backline role or a midfield role, and I'm very much a backliner. Yeah. But now in full forward, I'm missing her. I haven't seen her much. But no, I think if you watch the video replays, whenever Tegan kicks a goal, you're the first one. I'm the one screaming in the background of the videos. But no, not a lot of in-game connection. You won't see me kicking the ball to her, but I'll be pretty happy when anyone else does.
Right, does she give you any feedback, Tegan, during the game?
No, she doesn't really give me feedback. Be a bit rich, but no. Annalise is one of the people who sometimes I'm not sure if I can really kick the distance or get the angle, but Annalise is the one who's telling me that I can and giving me that support and giving me the encouragement that I actually can kick it, and half the goals are because of her for supporting me through that. So yeah. Oh
well, I love that. Now, do you have any favourite goals from the season so far, or ones where you just think I can't even believe I kicked that?
I've done 2. Probably my last game against Payneham, I had to take a ruck tap and ended up somehow not really much of a ruck compared to our 2 rucks who are about 6 feet tall. So I somehow managed to grab it out of the ruck and kick a goal straight from that, which is great. Done that a couple of times, which is good, and I don't even mean to do it. I just kind of grabbed it and I was like, oh no, I got the ball now. I don't know what to do. But yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Now, all the best for your finals preparations, and we, of course, hope to see you out there on Grand Final Day, which we will, of course, be broadcasting from. So thanks, girls.
Baby, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Alrighty, footy fans, it's that time of the week again, your Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. This week, we're heading to Division 4, and the Plympton Bulldogs and their coach, Simon Quinn, is this week's worthy winner. It's his first season at Plympton, and he's brought with him a wealth of knowledge from his time in the game as a player and a coach. He's absolutely humming after 14 rounds. They sit top of the ladder in Division 4 with a 12-2 record, thanks to their attractive and high-scoring brand of footy. It's no secret and no surprise that this week's Farmers Leap Coach of the Week is Plympton's very own Simon Quinn.
G'day everybody, welcome here to the Division 4 wrap in the Adelaide Footy League and on Between the Posts. I'm joined by the great Phil Herden. Phil, how are you, mate?
Lachie, good to see you again. G'day everyone.
Yeah, it's been a fun week, hasn't it, in Division 4? There's been lots of goals in some places. There's been...
I wouldn't say lots of goals is the headline that screams out. Certainly for a few clubs, goals are at a premium in the wet, wild and windy conditions. But I think in the Police Credit Union Division 4, we're starting to see things spread out now. We've got a script. It's just a case of whether teams stick to it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100% there. It'll be interesting to see. We'll crack into these games because there was a few results there. Starting off at Jeps Cross, they were 4-6-30, defeated pretty heavily there by Morphettville Park, 18-13, 121.
Yeah, Morphy Park cracking the ton, 91-point win at Duncan Fraser Reserve. Look, they blew it out early, 6-1 in the first quarter, 30-point lead, 59 at the half, 64 at three-quarter, 5-1 to finish. Morphy Parks, they're 10 goal scorers, 6 of them multiple, so really good spread. Anthony Jenkinson led the way with 3 goals.
Absolutely. The next game here, which I think is pretty interesting, Colonel Gardens, 0 goals, 11, Mitchell Park, 13-7, 85. You can maybe put that one down to, I guess, the conditions being 0 goals, 11, but they certainly probably could have made a better name for themselves there. Yeah,
Colonel Gardens this year have been an enigma wrapped up in a mystery. They can do anything to anyone and have anything done to them by anyone. On their home deck at Mortlock Park, in a game that had they have won, they would have pretty much locked away a finals berth. They ended up goalless, Nord 11, Mitcham 13-7. I don't know what the heck happened with the quarter-by-quarter breakdowns. Maybe they were still waiting for Colonel Gardens' first goal. Last time they drew, interestingly enough, Mitcham by 74 points. Mitcham had 7 goal scorers, 5 multiple. Maxwell Smith, one of the leading goal scorers in the division with 3. Stuart Lawson, Harrison Lyons, Nicholas Collins, best for the Hawks. Liam Kent and Jake Tate, best for the Lions. Now what this result does, it was probably the most key result across the whole division on the weekend. It opens the door for Mitcham to play finals. Colonel Gardens dropped from 4th to 5th. The gap is now just 1 win and 3.7%. Here's Colonel Gardens' last 4 games. It's tough. Top 4 teams. Hectorville, Plympton, Morphy Parks and Walkerville. Toughest possible run home. Mitcham get Jeps Cross, Hectorville, Plympton and CBC. 2 wins, they would be, if it goes to script as it is on paper, Mitcham will play finals and Colonel Light won't. But Lachie, we've seen a lot of footy between us.
Yes, we
have yet to see a game of footy played on paper.
I don't think we ever will either. That's the great thing about football. You've got to get out in the field. This next game here, Walkerville 7-6, 48, CBC 1 goals, 9, 15. They probably shot themselves in the foot there. You have a look at it there, 13 scoring shots to 10. Could have been a hell of a lot closer than what it was.
Could have been. You would have thought the weather were the suited Dolphins, but not the case. CBCOC's only goal, Jed Walker, who's the answer to the trivia question, who kicked it, came in the final quarter. Alex Goodra kicked 2 for the Cats. Obviously low scoring affair, just 8 goals all game. Walkerville are in 3rd spot. They're a game out from 2nd. They're a game ahead of Hectorville in 4th. They could go either way or they'll just finish with a double chance. Hectorville, they're still in the race for that. As for CBCOC, I think the last time I was here, I said, watch out on the Dolphins. They could be the dark horse for the finals. They've barely won a game since. And yesterday were eliminated. Well, they won't get relegated, but they won't play finals.
Well, you know, we all get things wrong. Have a look at my Prince Alfred prediction from the start of the year. That went...
More where that came from, by the way.
Having a look at the Plympton result here against Smosh West Lakes. Those two teams on opposite ends of the ladder. I'm not sure it was ever going to be close. I'm not sure anyone expected this. 20 goals 11, 131 Plympton at Smosh. 2 goals, 3, 15, 116-point winners were the Red Dogs.
Yeah, look, it was Plympton by 38 first break, 59 the main break, 68 at the last break, and then 8 goals to 0 in the final quarter made it a 3-digit margin. Plympton are hot, 11 straight wins, 5 of those by 100, plus 9 of those by at least 10 goals. Their last 3 games, they've won by a total of 310 points. Lachie Starter kicked 6 goals, Henry Phelan, who was best on ground, 5, Luke Paparella 3, Phelan, Stoddard and Michael Charles in the best for the Dogs, Lyndon Param and Reece Lovering for Smosh. So for Plympton, they host CBC next week. For Smosh, it's from the frying pan into the fire, hosting the league leading Dogs. Next week they'll host the second place Morphy Parks. Smosh, okay, last time I was here I said Smosh would not win another game all season. I was wrong. Well done, Smosh. They're in their own little battle with Kenilworth to avoid the wooden spoon. Right now, Smosh West Lakes just have that slight percentage advantage.
I mean, obviously it's nice to avoid the wooden spoon, but I don't think it's going to matter in terms of survival. They both look
well, yeah, look, Div 5 is beckoning for both them and the Kookaburras. But look, at least saying we won a game and we got off the bottom by the end of the season, it's something. And you'll take your small victories where they come.
100%. Kenilworth, speaking of Kenilworth, there they are, 0-3-3. Plays Hectorville's at 12-13-85. Those two teams there, Smosh and Kenilworth, not really throwing much of a fight.
No, look, Hectorville got the win they had to have, jumped to 4th, even a slight chance now at the double chance, and pretty much the Hounds look finals bound. They led by 14 points at the first break, 44 at 3-quarter time, went on a 6-0 rampage in the final quarter. Luke Broadbent with 4 goals, Anthony Mustaka with 2, Mitch Llewellyn best for the Hounds, Matthew Crompton best for the Cookers.
There you go. Very, very interesting. Having a look at the ladder now, I mean, this is pretty... Not set in stone.
It's spread out now.
Yeah, it is very much spread out. You have a look, Plympton at the top there, 12 wins, 2 losses. Morphettville Park, just the one behind, 11 wins, 3 losses for them. Then one further game back, you find Walkerville, 10-4. Hectorville at 9-5. Colonel Light Gardens, 8-5. Mitcham, 7-6. Jeps Cross are 6-8. CBC, they're a few games back from that. They're kind of in a little...
They're in no man's land.
They
can't play finals. They could mathematically be relegated, but that should be over next week. So yeah, they're just playing out the season.
4-10, bit of a dead rubber last couple of weeks for them. And Smosh, West Lakes and Kenilworth, 1 win, 13 losses for them on the season. Looking destined for Division 5, barring a major slip up from the Dolphins.
Yeah, absolutely. Leading goal kickers, Luke Paparella, only three in the conditions yesterday on 63. He's from the Plympton. Maxwell Smith from Mitcham, 47, tied with Lachie Stoddard from Plympton on 47. Jasper Clark, Morphy Parks, 42. Mitchell Hahn, Walkerville, also on 42.
Now there we are, next week's games as well. Super exciting to have a look at what's going to happen next week. We'll get a bit of a tip from you around each of these games there, Phil.
I mean, look, 3 lay down misères, you'd think. Kenilworth and Walkerville, how far the Cats. Plympton hosting CBCOC, another percentage booster for the Dogs. Smosh and Morphy Parks, same for the Roos. Now we've got 2 games of consequence. Mitcham hosting Jeps Cross, that's at the Hawks. It's 6th versus 7th. Mitcham need a win, little bit of help from above, and they could still play finals as mentioned. Jeps Cross, just a slim mathematical chance. Lose here, that's it. Win here. They've probably more spoilt Mitcham's season than will play finals, but you never know. I'm going to back the Hawks at home. They're getting into some form, maybe to storm into the finals late.
There you go. Again, very, very interesting round of football awaits in Division 4. You got one more?
One more. Hectorville and Colonel Light Gardens, probably the match of the round, 4th versus 5th. Hectorville solidly building up the ladder. Colonel Light Gardens, I just don't know what we're going to see from the Lions in this game. If it is the Hounds and the Hawks, that final picture really warms up. But if it Colonel Light Gardens win and Jeps Cross win, I think the 5 is set.
There you go. What happens next week? Well, we'll have to stay tuned to the Police Credit Union Division 4. It's going to be a massive, massive week. A massive thank you, Phil, for jumping in and helping us out with the Division 4 wrap as the Division 4 specialist. But we will see you for more Between the Posts after this. Well, g'day everybody. Welcome back to What Caught Our Eye here on Between the Posts. It's fantastic to be joined by Beck, who has caught our eye this morning, joining us. But it is going to be fun. We're going to go through the women's division as well, hence why Beck is here, of course, our women's expert right here on Between the Posts. We're going to start in Div 6 and we're going to start with you there, Beck.
Well, as you know, the women's competition has been catching my eye all season, but it's great to have you guys on board this week as well. Now, in Div 6, we have still actually got one round to go, but I am very much looking forward to the battle between Tea Tree Gully and Seaton Ramblers. The top of the ladder is really heating up, so their little battle there is really catching my eye.
They both had strong wins too last week, didn't they, Beck?
They did.
In Div 6, Grace Grierson caught my eye from Seaton. She's got one game left.
Yeah.
Now that I've heard that, 11 games, 56 goals. So outstanding effort. That's over 5 goals a game.
Yeah, nothing serious. Yeah, that's very, very good.
She's killing it.
Yes, she is indeed. I had a little bit of numerology here. Each losing team in Division 6 ended up scoring less than 10, and 2 teams were held goalless. The winners all scored within 10 of each other as well, 69, 74, and 78.
Now to Division 5, where Kilburn finished their season on a high with a 95-point win over OSB Lonsdale, and this was led by a 9-goal haul to Madeline Rose Agiers. So absolute killer there, 9 goals. Now, it wasn't just a one-off. She has kicked a massive 63 goals for the season, which is honestly incredible, and her 9-goal haul was her biggest for the season. So well done, Madeline Rose.
That's a great effort. In Div 5, I spotted that all the away teams won in round 14. And just a shout out to Tommy Javor, one of our favourite members of the Filming Footy family. Salisbury North finishing on top, so his beloved Hawks are going really well in Div 5.
They are indeed. Having a look at my Division 5, the losing team scored in pairs. So a couple of zeros and a couple of 13s as well, unlucky for some. Division 4, please, Beck.
Well, Division 4, I've talked about this over the last few weeks on the women's program, but for me, it's all about Modbury. This might have caught you guys' eye too, but they've finished with a 14-0 season.
Unreal. Kia Bascombe has caught my eye in Division 4. She's having some season. She won the Div 4 goal kicking with 20 goals and has been selected in her team's best players on 9 occasions, which is the most of any woman in Division 4, so outstanding.
Yeah, mine was the same as Beck's. 14-0 Modbury, really impressive. Division 3.
Well, in Division 3, this was what caught my eye literally, because I was driving around the city yesterday past Park 20 and I saw Scotch out there having an absolute crack at it, and Jessica Bushell from Scotch, well, their skipper, she kicked 3 of her team's 5 goals, and I think I definitely saw 1 goal go through when I was driving along.
Port District secured top spot on the Division 3 ladder, and it was a great day for the club overall as a whole. The 3 men's teams won and the women's team won as well. So it was a clean sweep for the district yesterday.
Yeah, I've had a look. Mitcham and Pembroke, impressive game. 2-4 apiece, 16 was the final score, which was super impressive to watch. A draw there in the Division 3 of the women's. Division 2, please, Beck.
Well, Division 2, it's another clean sweep for me. Anglevale gone and done it, 14-0, finished with a 23-point win, and I think they're going to be raring to go. They were premiers last season in Division 3. Can they go back-to-back in Div 2 this season?
They've got one of the better players in Division 2, Anglevale, as well. We have a tie in the goal-kicking standings. Tamara Clapton, 35 goals, and Laura Mitchell from Tea Tree Gully, a tie in the goal-kicking.
Yeah, I had the same as you guys, so we'll move on to Division number 1.
Well, Division 1, I'm going to save all my best stuff for the women's wrap, of course, but I am very excited to see what caught the eye of both of you guys in Div 1.
The game between Goodwood and Morphy Park caught my eye. Goodwood were 3 goals down at three-quarter time. They stormed home but did fall just short in a heart-stopper. Morphy Park winning by 2 points and secured third spot on the ladder.
Yeah, even though we've got a game to go, the relegated teams are Golden Grove and Hectorville, and we've got a massive game coming up next weekend as well, Broadview taking on Henley. Broadies will make finals if they beat Henley, so that's just something to keep in mind. Finals week 1, already locked in one game, Payneham versus Henley. That's a massive game. They had a draw in round 13, that one was at Henley, and in round 6 it was 10-11-71 versus 10-7-67. PNU defeating Henley.
Tight at the top.
It is. It is tight.
Div 1 is going to go off. Grand final day, it's going to be huge.
Can't wait to watch that one as well. Across the screens of Filming Footy, that'll be here on Grand Final Day in the Division 1 competition. But that wraps up what caught our eye for this week.
G'day footy fans, it's that time of the week again, your Born to Build Marks of the Week. Seen a great hanger across the Adelaide Footy League over the weekend? Make sure you get your nominations in to Darcy at Filming Footy. But for now, check out these Marks of the Week. G'day footy fans, it's that time of the week again, your Born to Build Goals of the Week. Make sure you get your nominations in to our wonderful producer Darcy at filmingfooty.com.au and check out these Snags of the Week.
Glenn, Wheels, and just fall short. No, it bounces through. Josh Glenn, Cavallaro, Glenn, Wheels, and just fall short. No, it bounces through.
It's time for the last word, brought to you by Sapol. We've done the episode here at the Mosey, which has been absolutely fantastic. The coffees have long since been drunk, but it is now time for milestones for births and for any marriages as well. We've got lots of milestones to get through today. Jack, let's start with yours.
Yeah, we do. Apologies to these couple of players. We did miss you guys last week. So down at Seaton, Brian Stingers Lee, he clocked up 200 games last week, so 201 for him yesterday. And down at Prince Alfred, Simon Potts, 150th game last week, triple premiership player. So both deserving of a very big shout out on the last word. So congratulations to you two. And yesterday, just check out this photo at Ross Trevor. Stevie J. Now, we don't know who the hell Stevie J is. We've looked through all the grades. We can't find anyone named Steve. So Stevie J must be a great goal kicker, a little bit of a goal sneak. We're not too sure. Apparently, it took him a while to get to 150 games, but congratulations to you, Stevie. You will know what we're talking about when you see the photo. A couple more to finish off.
Yeah, a massive congratulations to Daniel Thompson and Thomas Carter. 150 and 100 games respectively there for the Port District Footy Club. So massive congratulations to those guys. But it's been an excellent episode here at the Mosey. A massive thank you once again for them for hosting us. But until next time, we will see you next week with more Between the Posts.